about Chris Megan fishing along the Elizabeth Islands.
That is a gorgeous
They are
fish.
all beauties.
The Nantucket South Shoals was known as the graveyard of the North Atlantic. There were literally hundreds of ships wrecked on the shoals, thousands of lives lost. Nantucket South Shoals were hundreds of acres of very shallow sandbars that lay from Nantucket down to the entrance of the Port of New York. And they were a major navigational and shipping hazard because you'd go from hundreds of feet of water to 5 feet of water in a very short distance. Some of those fogs were there 65% of the time. So imagine you're coming across the Atlantic, you've just suffered major storms, the ship has been banged around, and you're close to this country and you're close to your destination. And you know you've got the most dangerous part of the journey yet to go, at the very end of the journey. You gotta get by the Nantucket South Shoals.
For centuries, the Nantucket Shoals were known as the graveyard of the Atlantic, but today they've become notorious for the massive-sized fluke that call these treacherous waters home. With the hope of landing a personal best fluke on our mind, Chris Megan and I hopped aboard the Helen H, a party boat based in Hyannis, Massachusetts, that routinely ventures out to these very shoals that hold some of the largest fluke in our waters. With almost a 2-hour steam ahead of us, we were surrounded by great company, including tackle shop owners and Shimano Pro staff who were just as eager to put the latest Shimano tackle to the test.
The Nantucket Shoals is a draw because of the size of the fish. That's the big thing. A lot of our customers come for the fish of a lifetime, and that's what we try and give them. You know, something that's bigger than, it's not always a 10-pounder or a 12-pounder, but you know, there's a lot of people that have been fluking a long time, never saw a 6 or a 7. And if they get one of those fish, it makes it a good trip for them. We see fish annually in the 12, 13 pound range. We've had them up to 15, 16 pounds.
I got a double sea bass.
A double on the sea bass?
Double on the sea bass. Another couple females. These ones will just look good. Nice little female. Nice.
This is a 7-foot Terramar. I've got a 400D Calcutta on here. We got some Power Pro line. This is rated for 20 to 50 pounds, so we're fishing braid. And to get down to the bottom right now, I've got about 10 ounces of weight, maybe 12, just because of the fact that, like, with the current moving the way it is, you got about a 4-knot current down there, you're moving quicker than you think. And so the key is to stay in contact with the bottom. There you go. Anthony's had a couple of nice fish on. Just picked up a short. This guy feels a little healthier. Pass it over. He's an eater, so there we go. Nice. So you got a nice fish right here. Beautiful fish. And what do you figure he goes size-wise? About 20 inches, give or take?
19, 20 inches.
19, 20 inches. If we were fishing inshore, this 20-inch fish, which is a keeper all day long, would be a beautiful fish. You'd think that was, we're really doing something. Out here on the shoals, though, this is a popper. This is one for the dinner table, so we're gonna go ahead and cape him. I think the fish they had last week was 11 pounds, 7 ounces, so there's some real slobs. Gonna go ahead and put this guy in the cooler, good eating size.
Lines are going to be leading out on the left side of the boat facing the front.
What I'm fishing here is a harness rig, which you usually put a whole squid on, but I got a nice fluke belly strip on there. And then just for an extra little tasty victual, we got a spearing that we got on the back of that. If you get a short hit from one of those well-schooled doormats, I'll get him with the trailer hook. But if he really eats it, he's gonna get stung good. And get a little three-way swivel here with a 10-ounce sinker that we're using, little spinner for a little shine, and that's basically the most basic fluke rig that you can fish out here. This one. This rod, actually, no, maybe not. She got a little drag there for a second. Hopefully it's the right kind. It is. Yep. There you go. That one did it. That's a better one. Yeah, we got a bleeder, but nonetheless a beauty. We're fishing the Nantucket Shoals on the Helen H. And this one ate a bucktail with a nice fluke belly strip that I was fishing on the bottom. And it's a great area to come fish and catch the biggest fluke of your career. Hopefully we can get that done today. It needs to be a little bigger than this one here. It's gonna eat nice tonight.
We've slowly moved further and further offshore, catching better sized fish. Inshore, you catch some nice fish, but you know there's a big mix of smaller ones. The further off you get, the less traffic, the less pressure, the better the fishing. We're looking for a bottom that's a little harder than the rest, a little pebble bottom. There's not a lot of hard rocky bottom in the shoals, but there's a lot of areas that are pebble bottom and that holds bait. It takes a lot of looking. We've been doing it for I think it's maybe 15 years now. So over the years, we've slowly acquired little edges and little spots that hold fish better than others. And the little bit harder bottom holds the bigger fish, as it does in most places. Okay, folks, you can let your lines out. Left side of the boat facing the front is going to have the lead now.
So I just went ahead and flipped it away from the boat, just moved to another location. That's one thing about staying out here. He's not gonna get married to a location. If we're not getting fish, he's there 10, 15 minutes, moving on to the next spot, because there are just miles and miles of shoals out here east of Nantucket, and they don't all hold fish. So the Cap's got a lot of locations over the years, 15 years of fishing. He's got a lot of locations. He's gonna try them all until he locks into a spot. Because the one nice thing about out here is that you can really get into double-digit fluke. You can get into a 10-plus pound fluke. Doug, you tight?
Not a big one.
This whole side of the boat's been catching fish except for me, Doug. So I just mixed up, put a stinger hook on the back, add a little bit of extra bait. Double head of sea bass, tandem. So we're gonna go ahead and pull these guys up over the reel. I don't know, the bottom one may be a keeper. Let me just, hold on, I'll just come straight up and grab the leader. There we go. Oh, that's a nice fish.
Spinner off, I took the
Nothing?
I took the squid off, like the squid shell.
I've got everything. I've got the kitchen
I
sink.
went bare bones. Oh.
There you go, Cheech. Bare Bones is doing it.
I think I'm gonna swing this one.
But you know what? Any given day, Cheech, that would be a beautiful fish. If we were fishing in Vineyard Sound,
We were fishing close to home.
it would be like,
That thing would be right in the
it would
box.
be right in the box. And out here, you're like, yeah.
But back home, this thing goes right in the box. Bunch of lice on it.
Look at that, fresh fish. Guys, Anthony DeiCicchi out here. Anthony, you haven't got a chance to do a lot of TV, have you?
No, my boss tries to keep me out of the limelight.
Does he?
Feels threatened, you know?
See, I thought it was because you had a face for radio.
Yeah. That might have something to do with it.
Oh, come on, Cheech. Anthony DeiCicchi, not high hook,
Oh,
but starting to catch up now.
out of our crew.
Out of our crew, definitely high hook. I'm due.
You are very due. Oh, and I'm going over.
Like double C, there it is, boys.
Oh, Meegsy's in on the action.
Oh, was that on cue?
I think he asked for that one.
I just finished saying I'm due, and that guy hit. I don't think he's a real slob, but you know what though?
Hey, sometimes they come up lazy.
You know what it is? It's funny. I had one earlier, Cheech, like that just came up, and he was just, you know, all of a sudden he got to the surface, and he's like, wait a minute, I'm caught. All right, buddy, come on now.
Where are you fishing? Cape Fogue?
This guy was in the shipping channels.
Oh, that's a nice one, Chris. Here you go.
He'll keep.
That's what we came for.
There he is. All right, beautiful fish. Awesome, thank you very much. That's actually a small fish for where we're fishing, but they're certainly a keeper. We'll throw them in the cooler. If we were fishing Nantucket or Vineyard Sound, that would be a slob, but out here,
It's just a
Eastern
Nantucket ninja.
it's just but you know what though, he's still gonna eat though, because we're not close to our limit. So we're gonna throw him in the cooler, we're gonna get back at it, rebait, and see if we can't pick up some more fish. That one right there, that really dirty, beautiful cooler.
My name is Bill Golden. I grew up on the Massachusetts coastline. In 2000, my wife Kristen and I bought the Nantucket lightship designated WLV 612 on eBay. Our intent at the time was to save the ship, which is one of the most historic ships in the world, from being scrapped. We bought the ship. We were confronted with this issue: how do we preserve this ship? At that time, 15 lightships left out of 167 that were built. Only a few of those will probably survive. So what we decided to do was to take the ship and do a historic adaptive reuse, just like you do on a historic building on the land. My wife's brilliance and creativity actually achieved this goal. As you look around the lightship, note that there wasn't a toothpick of wood on this ship. We did all the work with local people, about a dozen employees and a half a dozen subcontractors. And you can see from their work that they were just absolutely extraordinarily talented craftspeople, and then sawing it into boards and doing the millwork ourselves. So we have now 4,000 square feet of interior space on the Nantucket lightship that's handcrafted. And we have an opportunity to really have a ship now that can support itself. We charter the ship, we charter it to celebrities, to families, to groups of people that want a place to meet, to enjoy a unique environment. And by doing so, we're able to preserve the tradition and history of this ship. And that was really our goal. This ship represents an icon of salvation. The beacons on this ship, there are 2 Fresnel lenses on the foremast and what's called a black box on the mainmast. These lights in the ship were the first thing that immigrants to this country saw in America. And during that period of time, if you crossed the Atlantic from Europe, you headed for the Nantucket lightship. And when you saw the beacons on this ship, you knew you were in America, that you'd crossed safely. And so these beacons were known as beacons of hope, as well as beacons of warning, because they protected the shipping from the Nantucket South Shoals, which were known as the graveyard of the North Atlantic. So the Nantucket lightships became known as the guardian angels of the North Atlantic. They were there to preserve life and to usher those in peril on the sea to safe haven.
Okay, good.
is where the big boys hang out, right here. It's doormat time. Let's get on it. I got a feeling on this drift here it's gonna happen.
So we've seen some nice fish come over the reel on board the Helen H here, fishing just east of Nantucket. We've seen some 3 to 6 pound fish, but this place is known for 7+ pound fish. The one thing the captain will do is he'll keep moving. There's a ton of shoals to cover out here. We've got excellent tackle with the Shimano gear. Cheech is on.
I don't know, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Nice fluke. Yeah. That's a nice one. Nice little doormat right there. Chunk taken out of his tail with the gaff, but that's what we're out here for. We're gonna get back in there and try to get one a little bigger. It's a great rod, I love it.
Cheech, last minute at the buzzer.
Yeah. There you go. That's a nice one.
Cheech, you picked up 3 nice fish in that short period of time there.
Yeah, that was a pretty good drift, Chris, huh?
You know, it was. Beautiful fish. Cheech getting a little closer to limbing and out. You know, that's what we came for, 22-inch fish. That is a kind of a mid-size of the fluke that you can get out here. I'll take that fish all day long.
They're such cool fish. I absolutely love them. Those thick jaws with the sharp teeth, they just eat anything.
Let's put him in there. Good job.
The shallow seas around Nantucket have swallowed its fair share of vessels throughout the last few centuries. So many, in fact, even Hollywood has taken notice in recent days, portraying true tales of shipwreck and heartbreak on the shoals.
What's this on the radio? Shipwrecking them.
She's a T2 tanker, split right in half.
This is the Argo Merchant. It broke up in December 1976 on the eastern seaboard and spilled over 7 million gallons of oil into the ocean. That oil luckily did not drift ashore to one of the richest fish and lobster resources in America.
With so many fatalities, private and local humanitarian efforts came together and formed the United States Life-Saving Service in 1848. These brave men risked their lives in order to rescue countless mariners from the waters throughout the Atlantic Ocean, with many stations appearing throughout the shores of Nantucket. This service eventually merged with the Revenue Cutter Service to officially form the United States Coast Guard in 1915.
The shoals were mapped anywhere from the last turn of the century to the mid-1900s, so a lot of the charts are not very accurate. You got to read the water on a nice day and tell by the color of the water and the condition of the surface what kind of depth you have, because the charts in places that say 70 feet are 7 feet, and other places that had shoals, 80 years ago, where they were north-south, now they're east-west. You need to be careful, even with smaller boats, because not that you'd run aground, but the sea condition could be pretty treacherous when you have current against the breeze on the shoals.
Just set up on another location. Just dropped him back in, fresh bait on. This is probably about the 12th, 13th spot we've made. And there's so many shoals out here, so many different pockets. It's hard to tell one from the next. So if he's on it for 10 minutes and he doesn't like the number, the captain doesn't like the numbers, he'll move on to the next spot. Yeah, I think so. No. Well, then again, yeah, it was a really soft, slow pickup on this one. And this rod is so light and so sensitive that it's like just very steady. That's why. So that's one thing out here, you never know what you're gonna get. You know, I think I foul hooked the skate. Tight?
Yep.
Kubla,
No, it's just swinger.
swing it. Look out, Johnny, swing it.
That's a good one.
So, new spot, definitely produced some fish. 3 fish just came over. Unfortunately, mine's the skate. Cheat's got a nice fish. Doug Rush from Shimano just picked up a beautiful fish. That's a nice keeper. Here he is.
You want to get me?
Yeah. We're in them now, boys. We're in them now. I don't know if he's going to be a gaffer. Of course, this thing is so thin that it's like... Yeah, this one had to have dropped right on his head. That's a triple header. Skate.
Skate, dogfish,
Dog. Oh.
I think I can swing this one.
With the increased odds of landing a true fluke of a lifetime on a trip to Nantucket Shoals, it's always wise to leave one slot open in your bag limit, just in case. Fortunately, with only minutes left, I filled my limit with a beautiful 6-pound summer flounder. With a healthy bounty of tasty fluke fillets that make for some of the very best table fare our waters have to offer, Captain Huckemeyer brought the trip to an official end with his final call for lines up. Chris and I headed to the top deck and enjoyed the views of Nantucket as we passed Sankaty Light and reflected on a great day of fluking. Even though we didn't connect with the 10-pound plus fluke we had hoped for, we confirmed trophy fluke lurked amongst these shoals, and someday we'll get another chance to tie into one.